Hello everyone, we're going to take a look at LazyCam version 2.0. This is just going to be a basic introduction to its interface. We'll have following videos for using specific features and how to do your normal contouring and so on. As we've mentioned before, LazyCam is not meant to be a CAM program replacement. It's more for those people who have no intention of getting a CAM program. They simply want a good way to get in their drawings, either HPGL for Corel files or Dxf drawings from various CAD programs. The Dxf Loader in LazyCam 2 has been updated to include DXFs from a vastly wider array of programs. It seems to be compatible with most of the DXFs we can find. That having been said, not all DXF entities have yet been added. Splines and text are yet to be added into the mix, but they'll come along fairly soon. So we're just going to take a look at the basic interface of LazyCam. You can see here on the screen that we have a light blue area, which is where your drawings are going to show up. And then we have three interfaces. We have an operations bar, which shows you a tree control of operations. And it can be turned on or off with this project button so that you get a wider viewing space. At the bottom of the screen we have an info tab, which has information on both your project and what is going on. It's sort of like a flying status bar. We have extensive information on your file, total number of chains, maximum X, minimum X, and so on and so forth. And also an important setting right here of connection tolerance. Connection tolerance is the distance that two lines, an end point of one line and the start point of another line, can be off, and the system will still consider them to be connected. This is something that you will have to use at times to change your connection tolerance. Some DXF programs put out lines exactly ending on the start of other lines. Other programs do not. So this is something that if you're getting a strange import, you may want to play with and see why perhaps that might be happening. We have a groups bar, which allows you to set your rapid height, cut start, cut depth, depth per pass, your tool number, your type of lead-ins, and so on. Also on this screen is some fourth axis settings, which probably will not be on the version you have. We're coming up with a better interface for wrapping jobs around a cylinder, and that's a portion of that, so I'd stay away from that for now. We have a chains tab, which tells you information, extents of a chain, number of entities within it, and so on. And an entities tab, which tells you about a specific entity. These tabs will switch around by themselves. You won't end up selecting them very often. There are times when you're looking at an entity, it will automatically switch to an entity tab. If you're looking at a chain, it will switch to a chain. And if you're going to set a layer property or a group property, the groups chain will automatically appear so that you can enter your items. On the right-hand side of the screen is where our tools used to be, or the tools that we used to have on the left. We have things such as clean, reset origin, remove a chain, scale the drawing, and so on and so forth. We'll go into those one at a time when in the following videos to show you how to use all those. Along the top bar of the screen, I've already shown you the project and info buttons so that you can get a full screen view of your project. Incidentally, these toolbars are all detachable, and you are free to move them around if you wish. The program will remember the last place that you put them the next time you start up, so they're configurable in that respect. And that goes for all three toolbars except the button bar, which, although it's movable and detachable, so that you can move it off, and you can even drag it into various sizes so that you can have your buttons in front of you at all times, it will always start up on the left-hand side, irrespective of where you left it when you start the program. The other two bars will remember what you've done. Then we have the usual buttons that you're used to. We have Open LCAM Project. The project button will allow you to open any named LCAM project. We have a Save LCAM Project button. This will only ask you for the name of the project the first time you save it. From then on, it is a quick save. And before you get LazyCam Pro, it will also have a button for Load LazyCam Project, which will probably be named Undo, so that you can go back one step. We're going to make the program save each step along the way when you're changing things. Let's open up a Dxf file. I'll use one of my foam files. You can see when we open up a file, the system asks us if we're going to be using mill mode, plasma mode, turn mode, or foam mode. It uses this to automatically select the correct form of post-processing for you. So it's important that you select the one that you're going to use for a particular operation. We're going to select mill. And as you can see, we have our object, which has not been cleaned. The origin has not been moved. This was pretty much how the object was drawn. What I'm going to do is clean this object. And you'll see that when you click on a chain, the chain highlights over here on the tree. Also, the chain tab opens up to tell us if a particular chain is contained inside another chain, the number of entities in a chain, and the order in the layer that is due to be cut. This will be the 5th chain that will be cut in this job. One note here, everything in LazyCam is based on 3 things: a layer, a chain, and an entity. An entity is an object within a chain. A chain is usually a collection of entities that are all connected together. And a layer would encompass a lot of chains. In this case, when we load the file, you can see we only have one layer. Its name is 0, and it encompasses all of these chains. As I select a chain in the tree, you'll see it also lights up on the screen. These chains are listed in the order that they're about to be cut. The system has arranged them in a nearest neighbor order on load. And by using your arrow key on the keyboard, you can step down through and watch the order that the objects are going to cut. Now, if you're not happy with the order that objects are going to be cut, you're free to change them. For example, you can see here that this inner square is about to be cut. The next chain to be cut is the outer object, and that's probably a good order for most people. But the next object is over here, this circle, because it is inside another object. What you can do is say that this square, which we now know is chain 0 because it highlights, you want this square to be cut next, which is chain 11. So if we grab chain 11 and move it down after chain 0, now we have 10, 0, and 11. So these 3 objects would be cut in a row. So by grabbing a chain and moving it to another spot, you are changing its cutting order, and you will see that reflected on the chain because the rapid point moves. If we relayer an object, the orders will go back to where they were, to a nearest neighbor configuration, and now we are purposely picking sides to cut. So this is, the relayer has told it to cut all outside second, and first it will cut the innermost chain of any job. This chain is inside 2 other chains, so it knows to cut that first. It will then go and cut all the ones which are only primarily inside another object, and then finally it would cut the outside edges. If for some reason you want to change that, you could grab a layer and move the layer up to another position. So again, the program will cut through this tree starting at the layer, all the chains in the layer in the order that they are listed, and then the next layer, etc. You're free to grab and drop to change the order of cut operations that you're going to do. So that is how you change your orders. To activate a function, you only need to click on a chain. You'll see what chain is highlighted, and it's highlighted on the screen. And then you can perform an operation like the buttons on the side, remove chain, it will ask you, and the chain will disappear. If you wish to change something in a layer, a cut order or whatever, this is what layers are for. Anything inside a layer responds to various cut depths and speeds set by you. So by clicking on a layer, the Layer tab at the bottom of the screen will show us the type of lead-ins on a layer, the tool number, the rapid height, the cut start height, the cut depth, the depth per pass, the plunge feed rate, the main feed rate of the program, and various other settings. You're free to change them here simply by typing. So if we want a new rapid height, we could say that this is 1 inch rapid height. if we want to send this to all the chains, because we want to use the same rapid height for every chain since we know that the stock is high, it's a smart idea to set global values first on any layer and then say send to all layers. Now when we go to the other layers, you can see that they're all set to a rapid height of 1. The send to all layers sends all values for a layer. So the first thing you should do when starting your job preparation is to click a layer, set your rapid height, your cut start, your cut depth, and everything, and say send to all layers. Then when you're looking at subsequent layers that you want to deal with, you're free to modify them slightly for different depths and so on and so forth. To open an image file, we have image files buttons at the top. We have from Mach 3 button to load a current file which is in Mach 3 so that you can reprocess it somewhat with this type of ordering and layer entity type settings. And then we have a post G-code, which as always posted the G-code for the program. To set up various load functions and so on of LazyCam, we have a setup button where you can select various posting options and loading options as before. Well, that's it for a preliminary look at how to use the chains, entities, projects, and so on. We'll go into the LazyCam Pro features, which are the tabs along the bottom here, during the next video. And we'll process a couple jobs so that you can see how to drag objects around and reprocess them the way you need them to be. Thanks.